Talk about starting off on a high note.
Who am I? You sure you want to know?
Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 movie opening lines.
Hello. My name's Forrest Gump.
For this list, we're taking a look at the most iconic first lines of dialogue spoken in movies. Since many of these opening lines tie into major plot points and larger themes, a spoiler alert is probably called for.
Wait a minute, you ain't heard nothing yet. Wait a minute, I tell you ain't heard nothing.
Number 10, 100,000 Streets, Drive.
There's 100,000 streets in this city.
Known only as the driver, our nameless protagonist's entire identity revolves around automobiles.
A time and a place. I give you a 5-minute window.
He works as a getaway driver, but will only offer his services for exactly 5 minutes. After that, you're on your own.
Anything happens in that 5 minutes and I'm yours. No matter what. Anything happens a minute either side of that and you're on your own. Do you understand?
5 minutes might not sound like much, and not every getaway goes off without a hitch. However, the driver knows the streets of this city like the back of his hand, and he knows how to make himself disappear even better. Reminiscent of a film noir anti-hero, the driver's opening lines say so much about his emotionally detached character while also saying so little, which is only appropriate for a man of few words.
And you won't be able to reach me on this phone again.
Number 9, Choose Life, Trainspotting.
Choose life. Choose a job. Choose a career. Choose a family.
When you're an addict, you dedicate your entire world to one thing and one thing only.
I chose not to choose life. I chose something else. And the reasons? There are no reasons. Who needs reasons when you've got heroin?
Junkie Mark Rentboy Renton has been a slave to heroin for years. Now he's looking to finally choose something else.
I'm cleaning up and I'm moving on, going straight and choosing life.
As Renton states in the poetic opening of Trainspotting, there are so many things one can choose. A job, a career, a family, the list goes on and on. Above all else, Renton encourages his audience to choose life.
I'm looking forward to it already. I'm going to be just like you.
All the wonderful things life offers can be easy to pass up, though, when you're convinced heroin is all you need.
You can't stand here all day dreaming about heroin and Ziggy Pop.
It's Iggy Pop.
Whatever. I mean, the guy's dead anyway.
Number 8, the drugs began to take hold. Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
We were somewhere around Barstow, on the edge of the desert, when the drugs began to take hold.
Speaking of drugs, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas plays like one big acid trip.
I remember saying something like, I feel a bit lightheaded. Yeah, you should drive.
It's only appropriate that Raoul Duke's story begins just as the drugs begin to take hold.
Suddenly, there was a terrible roar all around us, and the sky was full of what looked like huge bats, all swooping and screeching and diving around the car.
From the second our main characters reach the edge of the desert, the film takes a nosedive into madness and never lets up.
30 minutes. It was going to be very close.
In addition to perfectly setting the stage, this opening also captures the essence of our narrator. Duke is constantly making observations and talking as if he's typing a novel in his head.
There is nothing in the world more helpless and irresponsible and depraved than a man in the depths of an ether binge. And I knew we'd get into that rotten stuff pretty soon.
Of course, most of his rants are completely ludicrous and could only come from a totally whacked out mind.
Our energy would simply prevail. We had all the momentum. We were riding the crest of a high and beautiful wave.
Number 7, I Am Gunnery Sergeant Hartman, Full Metal Jacket.
I am Gunnery Sergeant Hartman, your senior drill instructor.
Few directors know how to open a movie better than Stanley Kubrick. Alex's first monologue from A Clockwork Orange continues to give us chills to this day.
There was me. that is Alex, and my 3 droogs, that is Pete, Georgie, and Dim.
However, we've decided to single out Gunnery Sergeant Hartman's exhilarating introductory speech from Full Metal Jacket.
Here you are all equally worthless. And my orders are to weed out all non-hackers who do not pack the gear to serve in my beloved corps.
This film immediately throws the audience into basic military training, which can feel just as hellish as actual combat when you have a ruthless drill sergeant barking orders.
You're the lowest form of life on Earth. You're not even human fucking being.
Hartman is an unrelenting force that never stops insulting his cadets.
How tall are you, Private? Sir, 5'9", sir! 5'9". I didn't know they stacked shit that high.
From the second he opens his mouth, it's clear he'll eventually push one of these young maggots over the edge.
Sir, no, sir!
Then wipe that disgusting grin off your face.
Sir, yes, sir!
Number 6, the music or the misery. High Fidelity.
What came first? The music or the misery?
Although pop music is often viewed as peppy and fun, a majority of the genre's songs are surprisingly about heartbreak, rejection, pain, misery, and loss.
People worry about kids playing with guns or watching violent videos, that some sort of culture of violence will take them over. Nobody worries about kids listening to thousands, literally thousands of songs about heartbreak, rejection, pain, misery, and loss.
So why do we keep listening to them? Is pop music the root of all our misery, or do we listen to pop music because we're miserable? These are the questions Rob Gordon mulls over at the beginning of High Fidelity.
You don't have to go this second. You can stay until whenever.
With a love life that plays like a broken record, Rob contemplates if sad music can be even more harmful than toy guns and violent movies. In any case, Rob could definitely use a sunnier mixtape.
Did I listen to pop music because I was miserable? Or was I miserable because I listened to pop music?
Number 5, Tyler Durden, Fight Club.
People are always asking me if I know Tyler Durden.
So, you know that spoiler warning we talked about earlier? That was primarily for anyone that still hasn't seen Fight Club.
With a gun barrel between your teeth, you speak only in vowels.
This masterpiece from David Fincher is notorious for having one of the greatest movie twists ever, revealing that Edward Norton's narrator is also Tyler Durden.
I'm not Tyler Durden!
You told us you'd say that too.
All right, I am Tyler Durden.
What's so ironic about this twist is that the narrator basically gives it away with his very first line. Throughout the entire movie, however, the audience is completely oblivious.
I know this because Tyler knows this.
It isn't until you watch Fight Club a second time that you catch this ingenious foreshadowing, which makes you appreciate the film even more.
We have front row seats for this theater of mass destruction.
Number 4, the first time I saw a dead human being. Stand By Me.
I was 12 going on 13 the first time I saw a dead human being.
Stand By Me is all about the life-changing moment that marks a kid's transition into adulthood. For Gordy LaChance, that moment was when he first saw a dead human being.
It happened in the summer of 1959, a long time ago, but only if you measure in terms of years.
The opening of the film finds an older Gordy looking back on his childhood friendships and the journey that changed their lives forever.
I was living in a small town in Oregon called Castle Rock. There were only 1,281 people, but to me, it was the whole world.
Aside from hooking the audience in, this opening line highlights the bittersweet sense of nostalgia that makes us long for a simpler time.
It happens sometimes. Friends come in and out of your life like busboys in a restaurant.
Childhood goes by fast and is easy to take for granted. As Gordy completes his memoir, though, he remembers the importance of looking ahead to the future.
I'm never gonna get out of this town, am I, Gordy? You can do anything you want, man.
Number 3, I Believe in America, The Godfather.
I believe in America. America has made my fortune. And I raised my daughter in the American fashion.
We're all taught to believe in the American dream. The sad truth, though, is that sometimes the American dream lets us down, and the only way to get justice is by seeking out somebody like Don Vito Corleone.
And those two bastards, they smiled at me. Then I said to my wife, for justice. We must go to Don Corleone.
The masterful opening of The Godfather centers on an Italian man pleading with Vito to kill the boys that disfigured his daughter.
I'll give you anything you ask.
We've known each other many years, but this is the first time you ever came to me for counsel, for help.
Vito ultimately agrees to give him justice and have the youths horribly beaten.
Accept this justice as a gift on my daughter's wedding day.
As the Godfather gives his enforcer instructions, we're forced to contemplate if he's keeping the American dream alive, or if he's why the American dream is dead.
I want reliable people that aren't going to be carried away.
Number 2, As Long as I Can Remember, GoodFellas.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster.
Some boys dream of being president, but Henry Hill always wanted to be a gangster. This line sums up Henry in a nutshell.
To me, being a gangster was better than being president of the United States.
Like many of the other characters in GoodFellas, he's a selfish SOB. He does whatever he wants and takes whatever he wants, with little regard for those that get caught in the crossfire.
For most of the guys, killings got to be accepted. Murder was the only way that everybody stayed in line. You got out of line, you got whacked. Everybody knew the rules.
In Henry's mind, being a gangster means to own the world.
It was there that I knew that I belonged. And to me, it meant being somebody in a neighborhood that was full of nobodies.
Henry does indeed achieve all the power and wealth he ever dreamed of. That is, until his inevitable downfall.
I'm an average nobody. Get to live the rest of my life like a schnook.
Even then, Henry's just glad that he got a taste of the gangster lifestyle, and he wouldn't change a thing.
See, the hardest thing for me was leaving the life. I still love the life.
Before we get to our top pick, here are some honorable mentions.
There's an old joke. 2 elderly women are at a Catskill Mountain resort, and one of them says, "Boy, the food at this place is really terrible." The other one says, "Yeah, I know, and such small portions." Well, that's essentially how I feel about life.
Vem är du?
Jag är döden.
Kommer du för att hämta mig?
Jag har redan länge gått vid din sida.
I remember those cheers. They still ring in my ears. And for years they remain in my thoughts.
Yes, this is Sunset Boulevard, Los Angeles, California. It's about 5 o'clock in the morning. That's the homicide squad, complete with detectives and newspapermen.
Between the time when the oceans drank Atlantis and the rise of the sons of Arius, there was an age undreamed of.
Number 1, Rosebud, Citizen Kane.
Rosebud.
Sometimes one little word can have the greatest impact of all. In this case, Rosebud initiates what is often considered the best movie of all time. Charles Foster Kane's dying word. Rosebud sends a reporter on an investigation to uncover its true meaning.
Charles Foster Kane died. He said just one word.
Rosebud.
Not all a tough guy. Huh? Yes, Rosebud. Guys calling just that Rosebud. One word.
He never exactly figures out what Rosebud meant, but the audience learns that it epitomizes the one thing the richest man in the world couldn't buy: his lost childhood.
If you could have found out what that Rosebud meant, I bet that would have explained everything.
No, I don't think so. No. Mr. Kane was a man who got everything he wanted and then lost it. Maybe Rosebud was something he couldn't get or something he lost.
Bringing everything full circle, it's easy to see why Citizen Kane is a masterpiece from beginning to end.
What's Rosebud?
That's what he said when he died.
Do you agree with our list?
Well, why not?
What opening movie line instantly piqued your interest?
I bet you're the kind of guy that would f*** a person in the ass and not even have the goddamn common courtesy to give him a reach around.
For more entertaining top 10s published every day, be sure to subscribe to WatchMojo.com.
Okay. You promise? Yeah, I promise.
Promise.
I just said I promise. What?
It's 3 times you promise.